has their favorite bedtime story. Today's parents set out to find the very best and came up with a list of the 100 best Canadian kids' books of all time. Editor-in-Chief Sasha Emmons is here with more. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Amazing. This has really hit a nerve. Our viewers have been chiming in all morning long. It's bringing back a lot of memories. I had one person write in and she said she read her son's favorite book at his wedding and the whole room was in tears. There's so many memories and it's so important to get kids to read. Another person said books. What are those? And that's why this is so important.
Well, there are so many studies that show the benefits of books. You know, it helps with focus, concentration, increases empathy.
Never too early to start.
No, it's not. And I think now especially our kids are so plugged in and they really need that experience of unplugging with a book, being able to shut out everything. And also it's just an amazing full circle moment where you can read a book that you loved as a kid with your own kids.
And I love the article in today's Parent also says, don't be so panicked about what's the right age for kids to start reading. Everybody has their own pace. Eventually they will get it if you continue to read to them.
Right. Some kids just get it. They just kind of figure it out right away. And some kids really struggle through. But most kids, you know, eventually kind of figure it out. There's kind of this idea that kids should be reading by the time they're about 6. For some kids it happens, for some kids it's a lot harder. By grade 3, if they're not reading well, then that starts to be a little bit of a problem. That's the year that you really read to learn instead of learn to read. But you know, before that there's really a wide range of what's normal.
So we're going to take a look at the top 10, which by the way will be on our website, breakfasttelevision.ca. So I don't know how you came up with 100, let alone top 10, but let's get to it.
So do you have any guesses for our #1 book?
Let me take a look. I'm going to say The Paper Bag Princess.
That is a very good guess. That did make our top 10, but that's not our #1.
Okay.
Our #1 was a bit of a surprise. It's The Sky is Falling by Kit Pearson. And that was kind of the unanimous #1 pick from our experts. And it's so good. I just read it with my daughter. And one of the things I love about books is it can transport kids to a time in history or a place that they don't know about. So this is about World War II when Canada hosted war guests, children who were sent here because their country was undergoing war. And their parents had to send them away just so they'd be safe. So this 10-year-old girl and her brother have to come to Canada and create a new life all by themselves.
And some may say this topic is a bit too harsh for children, but it gets you talking as a family.
Right. Well, my daughter's 10, so she put herself right in that little girl's shoes, and it's teaching her about that moment in history in a way that a history book never could.
You're right. Well said. Also on the top 10.
So #2, I thought this might be the #1, Anne of Green Gables. Classic Canadian tale. I think 50 million have been published, so it's an international sensation.
Yeah, worldwide.
The #3 book is The Cremation of Sam McGee. This one's a bit of a ghost story. It's a very creepy story about the gold rush in the Yukon. It's actually a poem, and kids kind of, when they're a little bit older, love those kind of scary stories. It's about a guy who's cremated and actually comes back to life.
Maybe save that one for afternoon.
Maybe not for your 3-year-old.
The bedtime story.
Exactly, but for your little kid, Stella Star of the Sea, which is our #4 book, is a great pick. So the illustrations in this are just so whimsical. It's about a little girl and her little brother, and he's worried about going into the ocean with her.
And you give a lot of hints as to how to read to your kids to maximize the experience. I know, you know, even as an aunt, it's like read it again, but it does help them hear the ebb and flow of conversation, so they learn how to use those words. And you say things like put post-it notes and ask questions. So what does this mean to you?
Right. So you're kind of checking their reading comprehension. Reading over and over, yeah, you can be like, oh, you want to read that book again? But they kind of start to memorize it, and then they feel like they can read, and part of it is just confidence. So having the confidence that, hey mom, I know how to read this book, they're well on their way.
Okay, let's take a look at some more in the top 10.
Okay, so the next one is Silverwing. So the fantasy genre can be a great kind of gateway genre to kids who are a bit reluctant to read. So this one is in the perspective of a bat who goes on this crazy journey. Okay, so then the next one is Hockey Sweater.
Getting some love.
So perfect for this time of year. So this one's from the 1950s. It's an oldie but a goodie, and it's all about a kid who's completely humiliated because he has to wear a Maple Leaf sweater, and he's a huge Habs fan.
This one's written by Brad Smith, by the way. No, it's not.
So the next one is Lost in the Barrens, and a lot of kids learn about the Arctic around grade 3, grade 2, and so this is about 2 boys trying to survive in the far north, and so if your kid is really interested and kind of intrigued about life in the Arctic, this is a great book for them. John Klassen makes our list a few times. This is not my hat. And his books, the words are so spare and the illustrations are so funny. And this is about a fish who's a bit cocky, thinks he's gotten away with a hat caper, but in the end, it does not work out well for him.
And the last two are available on our website. You can buy the top 10 books via breakfasttelevision.ca. As well, pick up the June issue of Today's Parent, available on newsstands, or of course your Next Issue app. Thank you so much. Here's to reading, and it is a great ritual for you to bond and to get kids to lull themselves into a sleep. That pattern of reading, one book, and bed.
Great bedtime routine. And now summer's coming up, so hopefully there'll be a bit more time to tackle the books on this list.
Thank you so much. Great idea.
Thank you.
Pick that up, that issue, as well as some of these books. Add them to your library.